What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live hangout vid today. Well, we got quite a few things we need to cover, so I won't be here too long. Give me about 2 hours max. So before we get started, let me check my levels, make sure my mic is okay, and make sure everyone can hear me. All right, just move it down here. No, we don't need to do that. Yeah, I got a few people watching. All right, so let's see. Okay, guys, let's get into it. So first things first, we heard about the big news that transpired this morning. Tyson Fury has signed a multi-fight deal with Frank Warren and his promotional group, Fox Nation. So Frank Warren's Promotions, whatever you want to call it. So they held a press conference this morning with Jim Rowland to host the event, or John Rowland. I'm sorry, not Jim Rowland, John Rowland to host the event. Okay. So they asked a few questions, and one of those questions came into what came into mind is Tyson Fury's future bouts and where is he going to go from this point? Is he going to go and get into the fray with the top heavyweights, or is he going to take a few tune-ups? What's the deal? So the short answer to that question is that from Frank Warren is that Tyson Fury will not be fighting the top heavyweights at this moment. He's going to need at least 3 or 4 tune-ups before he can get into the quote-unquote groove of things, which would be wise given the fact that he's been out of the ring for 3 years. He blew up in weight. He was grossly overweight, I should say. He was, he was on, he was taking too many drugs, and he pretty much abused his body out, during his time out of the ring. And of course, his vocal cords were extremely undermined during the course of that layoff. So, of course, if you have strained vocal cords, that doesn't necessarily mean it won't affect your ring performance. But what could affect his ring performance is the time off out of the ring, obviously, the time that he abused his body with with illegal substance. What I mean by illegal substance, by drugs, like cocaine, crack, you name it. Those drugs, that will kind of, they're very detrimental to your body. But we'll have to see if he's going to be the same Tyson Fury of the old. You know what I mean? The same Tyson Fury that was really moving out of the ring. He was big, tall, moves like a middleweight, gives you awkward angles, who can box extremely well, who can box either orthodox or southpaw. Sometimes can be unorthodox as well, just like Deontay Wilder. So, um, yeah, so basically, it's yet to be seen with Tyson Fury. I mean, I'm happy that he's back. He definitely gave a shot in the arm to the heavyweight division with his return. He is scheduled to headline the card on June 9th as the real heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, okay. But no opponent's been announced yet, so we'll have to see in the next coming days what his opponent's going to be. Um, on that card, I was told, I heard that, damn, what was one of the fights that could be on that card? Oh, yeah. Terry Flanagan and Maurice Hooker could be on the undercard. And that's for the vacant WBO 140-pound title, which was recently vacated by Terrence Crawford when he moved up to welterweight. So that should be an interesting fight. Hooker is a decent fighter, but he hasn't really had the best of luck as of late. So I expect him to lose to Flanagan. This is Flanagan's first fight at the weight, and he's getting shot at the title. I mean, hey, it is what it is. He's not the only fighter who's ever debuted in a new weight class and has gotten a shot at at a title in a different weight class. So it's nothing within the norm. Dwayne Jones, what's going on, man? You said here Wilder said that Fury got so fat it affected his voice. Damn. I don't. I mean, I don't know if the weight gain had affected his voice, his vocal cords, but I would assume obviously is the abuse, the drug abuse that he had intake, that he had subjected to, which affected his body over the last 3 years. So obviously, I think that had a great to his vocal cords. But like I said on my video sponsor earlier today, this morning, I said, man, if he gets on the mic and he gets into a tirade. It'll be cringeworthy to hear him speak, but it should be funny as hell though. Because Tyson Fury is a funny character. In fact, at that press conference, one of the reporters asked him a question about the drug ban, and he pretty much mildly put it, you know what, wrong question. You could see yourself out of the press conference. So he literally kicked out a reporter for asking him the question about his drug ban. So basically, he doesn't want no one to bring it up. He wants to move on. He's learned his lesson from it. He's paid a heavy price for that 3 year drug ban or 2.5 year drug ban, whatever you want to call it. So he wants to move on. 1224529. What's going on, sister? I'm doing good, doing good. Uh, Casey Robson says that Rod, the Boogeyman Salka, is live right now. You know what? He is actually fighting. Yeah, who is he fighting? Rod Salka. He's fighting. Uh, Dude, who is he fighting right now? Rod Thon. What's his last name? Thunder is a nickname. Lightning Rod Salka. I mean, let me see. Francisco Vargas. Okay, yeah, he's fighting him in an 8 rounder today. Okay, or tonight, I should say. So, be interesting. Obviously, I expect Vargas to blow him out. Vargas and Rosalka are more, they're rock'em sock'em type of fighters. But Vargas is more of the better technical fighter than Salka. So, I might tune into that. I might see that fight later on. I may catch a replay on it. So we'll see. 1224529 says that he said he has a tumor or something on his vocal cords or something like that. Could be possible. Maybe he does have a tumor that's affecting his vocal cords. But it just seems to me that the timing of the fact that his vocal cords were affected during the time he was out of the ring and he blew up the weight. Not saying his weight gain had anything to do with that, but more so that he's had abused a lot of drugs during his time out of the ring. So that right there could have had an effect on his vocal cords. So Olaf the Mighty, what's up, homie? He says that what's going on with Triple G? Is he still fighting? I don't know, man. It looks very bleak at the moment because they got so many opponents being rejected at the moment that the is either the sanctioning bodies or the athletic commissions will not approve it, and time is running out, and then they're running into some production issues as far as getting the proper licensing costs all together. Since they have to move the venue from Vegas to the StubHub, which seats 9,000, and they have to move the actual televised event from pay per view to regular TV, to regular HBO broadcast, which is the right thing to do. So now they're just running to all this financial mess and getting the right opponent. But the last thing I did see or I've read, and I skimmed through this article, is that Tom Loeffner is very adamant about trying to get the commissions and the sanctioning bodies to approve Vanez Monterosian. Okay. Now, again, Vanez Monterosian is not a he's a decent opponent. Yes, he's been in there. He's world level. He's been in there with guys like Arizona Delar. He's been in the ring with them twice. Gave him 2 tough fights. He's been in the ring with Demetrius Andrade. Very tough fight as well. So he definitely could be a suitable step in. But the problem is that it seems like everyone wants to see Triple G in a tougher fight, given the fact that he's in this tough situation with the Canelo. Canelo pretty much fucked this whole thing up. Regardless of the fact that you got a slew of middleweights that wanted to step up to fight this guy. And then you have Lou DiBella with his mandatory Sergey Derevyanchenko, who's the IBF mandatory, and Lou DiBella is trying to get the IBF to order the fight. And once they order the fight, if Golovkin refuses to go through the fight, he wants him stripped. And the IBF could say, well, it's been what 3 years since you made, or 2 years, or whatever. I think it was 2 years, I believe. Yeah, it's been 2 years since he's made a title. Look, has it been 2 years since he's made that IBF mandatory defense against Dominic Wade? Let's see, Gennady Golovkin. All right, let me look at his record here. Yeah, it's been 2 years since he's made the IBF mandatory defense. So the IBF can step in and say, "Hey, look, our mandatory's been due for the last 2 years now, so he's got to fulfill that obligation." So he's in a very, very, very tough mess. And again, I think Monterosian is a suitable opponent, but again, Loeffner is really trying to convince the sanctioning bodies to approve Monterosian. The California State Athletic Commission approved him, but not the sanctioning bodies, which is the WBA, the IBF, and the WBC. So Loeffler's going to have to really work hard to get them to approve him as an opponent. But again, we're entering the third week of April, and the Cinco de Mayo date is the 5th of May, obviously. So they got literally about 3 weeks left to get somebody in. I mean, well, 3.5. So unless they announce something tomorrow, which is Loeffler 360 promotion. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes about. Dwayne says, Dan, you see Joshua says he's willing to take a 60-40 split. I think he wants to fight. I think it's Eddie Hearn who's playing scared, just my opinion, though. You know what? I've always said this. I've always said that Anthony Joshua, I think he wants to fight, just like many of us want to fight. I think he wants it. I think Eddie Hearn or his handlers are trying to. I don't know what's going on with them, but I will say this, man. They set that offer over, right? It's a flat fee of $12.5 million. Now let's get this right, man. Not you, but other people out there who running this narrative that Deontay Wilder rejected an $18 million offer. First of all, that's not true. Okay. Second of all, he did not reject an $18 million offer. He did reject it. What's reported now is that he's rejecting a flat fee of $12.5 million. Okay. It's not 12.5 million pounds. It's 12.5 million US dollars. Is 8.8 million pounds. So if you convert that over to the British pound to the US, that's $12.5 million. So get it right. I see people are trying to conflate this report to make Deontay Wilder look like a, a Wiki Right type of character who's willing to price himself out, and to the point that he gets a really, really big lucrative offer. No, that's not what's happening. First of all we know at this point, second of all, I should say, all we know at this point is that Wilder and his team are preparing to send a counter offer to what they've received. And I said it on record that I think he should take the initial offer. Why? Because yes, it's a flat fee. I get it. You're not getting any back end deal behind that. But what I will say though is that the one thing that you do get in Deontay Wilder's side is you do get a rematch clause if you should win the first fight, which will take place at Wembley, which they all sides agree that the fight should take place at Wembley or in UK or Cardiff, right? If should you win the first fight, which I believe Deontay will win the first fight, you get to dictate the terms in the rematch, which includes you choose the venue. You could do it either in the UK, you could choose it in the US. So Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, should take that, okay, or his team. But the thing is, to be fair, maybe Shelly Finkel and others are not okay with that. Deontay might be okay with it, but maybe his team is not okay with it. So it's a big mess. So at the end of the day, Dwayne, I think both fighters really want to fight each other, but it's more so on who their handlers are. You have Eddie Hearn on one side, then you have three other guys: DeBella, Finkel, and of course Heyman. So it's a big mess. I think it needs to be resolved. I was on another hangout today. Shout out to Destiny, by the way. We were on EJ's hangout, and she was told that she did talk to Eddie Hearn. And shout out to Destiny. She did talk to Eddie Hearn and AJ this today, and they were adamant that the fight will be good to go for September. All Wilder's team has to do is confirm what the offers is. And Eddie said he's not budging on the split. Allegedly, that's what he's saying. But it is what it is. But those out there who are saying that Deontay Wilder allegedly rejected $18 million, it's not $18 million. It's 12.5. Get it right. Okay. I understand that you got some of these guys out there have dubious motives right here to discredit Deontay Wilder. But the fact is that if you're going to discredit the man, do it in an appropriate and honest way. Okay. And the reason why I say that, because I know that many fighters are not, a lot of fighters, doesn't matter how much you praise them, they're not above criticism, and they're definitely not below praise, as Hatman Strikes Back says. Shout out to Hatman. 1224529. Yeah, his situation is messed up. Talk about Canelo. Dan, I'm so sick of this fiasco. I don't even care anymore. Yeah, I mean too. I'm kind of getting a little, tired of it too. It's all this back and forth. Wilder's being called a coward, a bitch. He now he's being called a ducker. But like I said, is though he better come up with a good counter offer right now. He needs to do it very quickly. It should have been done today, by the way. But it seems like they're giving Hearn is giving Finkel and Dubella along with Wilder a little bit more time to come up with the counter offer. And Hearn denied that the offer they sent to him was a take it or leave it offer, as Shelly Fico had claimed. Um, so I think that's what it is. Dan, I was listening to a channel, even though they like Wilder, they believe Wilder's handlers messed up his career. You know what? I agree. I don't think they quite messed up his career. I think they've mishandled it. In other words, what I mean by mishandling it is that they've made so many mistakes. You could say, okay, it takes more time to build a fighter than normal. I get it. But when he finally won the world title against Mason Vern, they mishandled him from there at this point. They really badly mismanaged him. And they missed so many opportunities. I know someone came on my channel, Fat Apples, told me that they blew the negotiations with Charles Martin. First things first, there was no negotiations that took place with Charles Martin. I know I had a conversation with the other guys about this at another hangout. It's just that we pretty much theorized that maybe they were trying to approach Charles Martin, but when they didn't do it, it was a missed opportunity because Charles Martin was fishing around trying to pretty much sell his IBF belt. That's what he was doing. And it was a missed opportunity because they could have approached Charles and tried to get him to go ahead and go with the unification bout with Wilder. So, like I said, we can only speculate, but there's nothing on file that says that they even approached to negotiate with Charles Martin. But what is on file is that they did approach to negotiate with Joseph Parker, and Joseph Parker, his team, elected to get back out of that negotiations and pursue a fight with Huey Fury, fulfill that mandatory, and then pursue a fight with Joshua. So that was what what was that about? But I mean, that's what transpired, I should say. So yeah, I think they mishandled his career for the most part, but they're finally trying to stir it in the right direction. Actually, they should have done long ago. They're moving him in the right direction, so we can't really fault them for that. So that's why I say mishandled rather than messed up his career. Because if his career was to conclude right now, yeah, you can say his career got messed up. It was poorly handled. So they mishandled it in the beginning, and now they're finally acknowledged the mistakes they made. So they have to really focus on the heavyweight champion of the world. So you have to do that. He is the American heavyweight champion of the world. So the only American heavyweight champion in the world. Then again, you have AJ, who's the only UK heavyweight champion in the world because he's got 75% of the sanctioned belts, and then Wilder's got one of the sanctioned belts, which is 25%. So it is what it is. You know, in terms of exposure, Big Baby Miller talking smack, looking so crap today. All right, what's up, D Style? Yeah, I'll get you a link, brother. Give me 1 second. Yeah, absolutely. I saw Big Baby's interview today, man, on IFL. I think it was Fight Hub or IFL. It was one of the two. But anyways, he was saying that he don't think Al Joshua was going to be it will be coming here to the UK. Not to the UK. I'm sorry. He won't be coming here to the US to fight me. He think Joshua is running away from him. Yeah, I know. Big Baby likes to talk a lot of smack. Yeah, he's running away from me. He said his fight was boring. It was a snoozer against Parker. I mean, he was talking all kind of shit. I mean, look, Big Baby needs to just shut the fuck up. All right, but I understand why he's doing it. He needs to get his name out there. He needs to get exposure because we all know the rumor mill is that his fight with Joshua is penciled in for August 25th, which Joshua will be coming to New York and fight at Barclays. So yeah, that would be interesting. Big Baby Trash, what's up, Amir? Chad Ross, Big Baby will be getting a rude awakenings real soon. Oh yeah, I mean, look, I'll tell you one thing: if Joshua beats Big Baby Miller in a very good fashion, or however he beats him, I'll give him credit for it. Well, you know, I should be careful how I say however he beats him because if he fights him in a very dirty and not so pleasing way, then yeah, I mean he'll still get credit for winning, but we still got to critique how he won, just like how he won his fight against Parker. I mean, yeah, it was not a good performance. We all acknowledge that, but at the same time, hey, as a exciting fighter, you are going to have some one-offs when it comes to performances. There are some nights you're not going to have good performances, and for the most part, you are going to have some good fights. St. Cruz, what's going on, man? He says Big Baby is a B fighter. I mean, yeah, he's a B fighter. He's definitely a legit challenger, a contender. So he's somebody you don't want to take lightly because he has very good punch resistance. So uh, you gotta be careful. He's a relentless pressure fighter. He never, the one thing I've never seen from Big Baby is that no one's been able to out pressure him. So that's something that'd be interesting if the Joshua and Miller fight comes about to see how that How that comes in. So yeah, let me see. Amir says that Dillian White is a good fight for Big Baby, although I would edge it to Big Baby just a little. You know what's interesting about that? Dillian White blocked Big Baby from Twitter. He blocked him from social media on Twitter because Big Baby's been calling him out. He's been, degrading him, and Dillian White wasn't having it, so he just decided to block him because I don't know if he got intimidated by his trash talk. No, surprising. No, it's not surprising because Big Baby does intimidate a lot of guys with his trash talking. It seems like his mouth always wins the wars, just like Ricardo Mayorga used to do, like the king of trash talk. But it is what it is. Rascalot 222 MOB versus everybody in the YTBC. Yeah, we already know the drill on that one, Rascalot. And versus the LDBC as well. Yeah, hey, we know the drill, bro. You versus everyone, as always. Let me see here. Dwayne Jones. I would love to see Big Baby versus Dillian White in press conference. You know what? That will be explosive, man. That right there would be explosive. To me, in my opinion, that would be a lot worse than Chisora versus Dillian White build up in the press conference, man. That will be fire. It'll be dirty. I mean, it'll be a nasty promotion, to be honest with you. But something that be to get excited about, to be honest with you. It will be. D Style said we got to talk about that flop on Joshua versus Parker. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that because you and I disagree on whether that was a flop or not. Because we gotta chop that up. Yeah, you might convince me on that D Style, but we'll see. Give me a couple minutes, bro. I'm gonna bring you on. Champ Ross says Champ Ross. Dwayne says that's disrespectful, Champ. I mean, Baby Bull had no power, especially when he unloaded on the clip on dudes. Yeah, Juan Diaz. I mean, Juan Diaz was not known to be a big puncher, but he did have very good hand speed. And the fact is that the way he used to get rid of guys is that he was due to accumulation of punches, So yeah, he had no power, but he did have enough. He did have enough respectable power where he get your attention. So yeah, Rascalot says that Big Baby will lose to White. Big Baby is not a big puncher. He didn't have a lot of KOs at kickboxing either. No, Big Baby is not a big puncher, but he does his damage comes from the accumulation of shots as well. But he does hit hard enough to get your respect. So I mean, if you saw the knockout of Donovan Dennis, yeah, you see what I'm talking about. I mean, he knocked him silly in that fight. But hey, that's Donovan Dennis, okay? Donovan Dennis knocked out Joseph Parker's replacement opponent, which is Ramnu Kajani. So I remember they ridiculed Parker for that performance because, hey, if Donovan Dennis can knock you out, he could knock out Kajani. Why couldn't Parker do it? I remember that. Big Baby's size is overwhelming, though. Physical size. Yeah, he is. It is overwhelming. It could be intimidating, too. So you have to understand, boxing is not always about physical strength or physical attributes. It's also about mental attributes as well. So, and Big Baby's size and physicality does seem to intimidate some of his opponents. So it is what it is. Champ says that the way that they're both active they do both throw a lot of punches and lead on fighters, etc. Yeah, they do. That's a pretty good point. They actually do. So yeah, Black Lad C says I've seen bingo events at retirement homes more so than Joshua versus. Ah man, you cold blooded with that one, Black Seas. Man, you are cold blooded. But like I said, man, I'm gonna give Joshua the benefit of the doubt in that fight. You're not going to have a good performance either way. But the thing is that I want the Joshua fanatics to understand is that yes, he did win the fight, but it was not the performance that many experts did not expect. Remember, some of them, which they know who they are, dismissed Parker. They written him off, and then look what happened. Now they have to backpedal and say, "Well, Parker was a legit opponent anyway." Yeah, I told you that at the beginning. You dismissed him as a legit champion, but now you have to eat your words because of the way he performed. All right, so you guys expected they well, not you guys, but they expected Joshua to blow him away, and that didn't happen. Neither man didn't land any effective shots. Maybe one or two shots. That was it. No one was close to knocking each other out. So it was just a dreadful performance by both. But I would say though is that both of them did show more adjustments, tactical adjustments than they usually do in do in their previous fights. So, so that is what it is. Let me see. Amir says, "Do you if you think that Wilder versus Joshua or Fury versus the winner of all time will be all time classics. I personally doubt it. You know what, Amir? I don't know, but I would be surprised because let me give you an example here. When Riddick Bowe and the Evander Holyfield first fight got announced, right? No one thought that that fight. No, what most of the critics didn't expect that fight to go down the way it did. Okay, a lot of people thought it was going to be a boxing exhibition by Holyfield. They thought Holyfield was going to outbox Riddick Bowe to UD to a decision, whatever it was, and they were dismissing it as going to be a pretty dreadful fight. But Bowe Holyfield did give us three tremendous fights, and to this day it remains one of the best trilogies of all time. So no one expected that Bo Holyfield to put out the fights the way they did over in the '90s. So with that said, Parker versus not Parker. I'm sorry, Wilder versus Fury versus Joshua. I mean, those fights could potentially be all time great classics. It could potentially do it. But what I'm saying is, it may not. But again, if it does, don't be surprised because Holyfield and Igbo went down that path, and no one expected those two to have put on classic fights in their trilogy. No one expected that, you know. So yeah. Let me see what else we got here. What are your thoughts about Povetkin has no pushover for anyone? Yeah, I agree, Champ Ross. Olaf says Povetkin sucks. I know Olaf. I know you don't really like Povetkin, but you know what though? He's a very dangerous fighter, regardless of the PEDs or not. He's extremely dangerous. He's not a pushover. I agree with Champ on that one. Rasclass says, "What are your thoughts on Usyk or Gassiev moving up to heavyweight out of the winner of the World Boxing Super Series?" You know what? That's a good question. I think Usyk will probably do better at heavyweight than Gassiev. But then again, Gassiev may not maybe a dark maybe the dark horse in the heavyweight division. But the problem with Gassiev is that he's not going to be able to oppose his physical strength in the heavyweight division because he's known to be a come forward pressure fighter. And the thing is that if he's going to move up to the heavyweights, he's going to have to learn some new tactics. He's going to have to learn to fight from the back foot. He's going to have to learn some head movement. He's going to have to learn. He's gonna need a lot of adjustments, you know. So I don't know about Gassiev. I mean, he may have some success, but I'm making on Usyk to have more success because he has all the attributes. Okay, and I'm not saying that he's gonna embarrass all the heavyweights, but same thing with Usyk. He may not be able to beat all the heavyweights for boxing from the outside, but he's gonna have to find some way to fight in the inside as well. I think he does have some inside work, but he doesn't really utilize it that much. So that's excuse me, that's yet that's yet to be seen. But I'll be interested in that. Let's see what we got here. Vivek is easy work. He gets hit too much, and you can box him at range. You know what? That's a good point, Dwayne Jones. If you can keep him from range, Vivek really doesn't know how to adjust for that because he definitely cannot win the fight from the outside because he does. He's not only a very small heavyweight, even though he's 220 pounds, that's considered small. He doesn't have the reach, so you're gonna have to keep him at bay. You have to keep him at the end of your jab, and that's the way to beat him. I'm not saying beat him the way Vladimir Klitschko did it, but I mean, if you want to beat him the right way, quote unquote, as Low Place would put it, you have to keep him at the end of your jab. You have to impose your height, impose your reach, and you have to be elusive. Like Deontay Wilder would have those attributes because he's very athletic, and Povetkin, I don't think Povetkin is a little bit slow-footed though. That's the thing. And if you can outwork him a bit from range, then you're definitely going to win the fight. Um, Black Lad sees. Okay, you're already talking to him. Dwayne Jones is that we all say that Joshua don't have a chin, but in the Klitschko fight, he did take at least six big right hands and went down to one. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, Dwayne Jones, and I'm guilty of saying this too, because Joshua has been rocked in many fights, and Klitschko did put him down, and no one. I don't know. And the thing is that that Klitschko. Some people will argue that look, that Klitschko was past his best. If he was a prime Klitschko, he would have knocked out Joshua. I mean, I'm not too sure about that. Um, so I did admit that I'm not sure if his chin will hold up against Parker's punches, but to be fair, Parker didn't land him any shots, and neither did Joshua. So I mean, yeah, he did hold up pretty well. He found some heart to come back against Klitschko, and he won. A very good win. That's an all-time great win. Got to give Joshua credit for that. You know, Dwayne Jones said Povetkin likes to fight in the pocket, so he doesn't have great defense. No, he doesn't, but he definitely moves his head a lot too. So that's what makes Povetkin very, very difficult to fight. So let me see. Buster Douglas Jr. versus Big Baby Miller. Ah man, junior or senior? Oh man, that's a tough. You know what? I definitely picked Senior to win it against Big Baby, but definitely not Junior. Junior was okay fighter, but Junior was didn't really wasn't. He wasn't as good as his father was. I'll be honest with you, he wasn't. I mean, he was okay fighter, but he wasn't as good as his father. AJ wasn't even in his prime when he fought Klitschko. He was still developing, in my opinion. Prime for prime, AJ still wins. Well, Rosclot, we can agree to disagree on that one. AJ, what you mean by that is that you think he was still developing, but he was still in his prime when he fought him. I don't think that's much of. I don't think that's a difference. I think what you probably mean by that is that if he had more experience, maybe he would have dealt with Klitschko a lot better. That's probably what you mean. He probably wouldn't be in trouble the way he was against Klitschko if he was in, if he was developed a bit more. But he was thrown in there. He did get, even though he was going in the fight as a favorite to win it, but a slight favorite. But many people, including myself, I really didn't think. I thought he was. I don't know. I wasn't too sure. I don't know if he was really quite ready for that, but he did. He did step up. He did pass the test, and he got a great win. So absolutely. Same here. Junior will lose to Big Baby Miller. Yeah, thanks, Roscoe. We definitely agree on that. 1 2 2 4 5 2 9. To be honest with you, he got hit in the temple, not in the chin. Dan in the Klitschko fight. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. You know what? That's a good point. 1 2 2 4 5 2 9. Because when you get hit in the temple, anybody could go down. It doesn't matter how good your chin is. When you get hit up there, man, it'll put you down. It will, because once you get hit in the temple, that you definitely gonna feel your legs being neutralized. So Black Latin C says, Dan, you give Joshua full credit for the Vlad win? Yep, I do. Yes, I do. I do. Even though a lot of AJ fanatics don't like me, but I still give them credit for that win. So I'm not going to let them change my rational way of thinking. That's the difference between me and those who claim to be quote unquote real boxing fans. I mean, because they just don't. They allow, the hatred for certain fighters to cloud their judgment because of some other group that supports one fighter pisses them off so much they go out their way to discredit that fighter. Now, to me, I'm gonna give you an example of Gennady Golovkin. Yes, there was one group that pissed me off, and yes, I went at Golovkin because they kept saying that he was the greatest middleweight of all time, shit on Hagler, shit on Hopkins, whatnot. And I wasn't having it, but at the same time, I said, look, if Golovkin fights better opposition, I will give him full credit. And guess what? He has given full credit, despite them still going at those other middleweights. Even though I've given him full credit for him stepping up his level of competition, I don't allow them to cloud my rational thinking despite the fact that Golovkin was not fighting the best opposition that he could, the best opposition out there, but he was doing the best he could. Now that he was able to step up and his management team was able to put in the money to give him the fights that he needed, then I give him full credit for that. Despite them going out there still shitting on Hagler and Hawkins, I'm not gonna dismiss Golovkin's career. He's done some great things, as a middleweight. I mean, is it on par with the other great middleweights like Hopkins and Hagler and Robinson? No, it's not. But he's still doing some good things, right? So, yeah, AJ definitely deserves full credit for that win, regardless of what how many of us think about him. I think he deserves it. He's doing a lot of great things. He's the number one heavyweight in the world right now, and yeah. But even it's funny though when I give him full credit, but when I give Wilder some credit and the benefit of the doubt, people hate me for that. So it is what it is. It's a no-win situation for me. I don't care. Like I said, I'm gonna still continue to be the rational individual. So it is what it is. My WrestleMania review minus Rousey match just posted so you can check it out, Dan. I'm tired of Roman. I believe you, man. I am. I'm tired of Roman Reigns too. I gotta talk about that with you when we get on here right now. Rosclaw said Triple G is good for these times. That's it. I can't compare it to past greats until he retires. You know what, Rosclaw? And that's the exact point that I was making to these people who were going at me when I say, hey, look, Golovkin is doing some good things right now. We got to see him in the ring with better competition until he retires. Then we can compare and contrast how he goes up against the other greats. But these other guys wouldn't accept that. They were trashing those other fighters, and they were calling me black tard as a code word for nigger. I hate to say that. And that's what was pissed me off. And that's why I was going at Golovkin the way I was. I was like, okay, you know what? Your guy's being a contradictory individual. Okay, I won't bring this up. Blah blah blah. But until then, like I said, until he step up to his level of competition, then I'll give him credit. And that's exactly what I've done, despite them still going at me. You know, I'm not gonna let those guys cloud my judgment. I'm not. So it is what it is. Yeah, as far as the fantasy matchup, I think Hagler does beat on Triple G because Triple G's style is tailor made for Hagler. Tailor made. Tailor made. So it is what it is. So let me get D style on here because we're gonna chop it up a little bit. Black Lad C says, I don't know about that, Dan. Triple G low key hit at 160, a dead division. The minute he stepped up in competition, he looked very beatable. If you're referring to the fact that he was him and his team challenged people from 154 to 175, and then they scaled it down to 168, I can see your argument. I definitely see your argument because yeah, they were him and his team were playing games in that situation. They were playing games in that situation, and and I criticize them for that. It's like, look, if you're gonna call, it's like they were calling out fighters in all these divisions, and then most of these fighters stepped up and say, hey, we'll fight you if you can't get fights at 160. They wanted to move the goalposts. They wanted to change the narrative and say, no, 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 we weren't talking about you. We're talking about this fighter right here, this A fighter right here, or this B fighter right here. And then one of the fighters, who's the A fighter, by the way, is the best fighter in that division. He challenged you. He's the number 2 best pound fighter in the world. You guys know who I'm referring to. He's retired now. So he wanted to say, I'll accept your challenge. And what did they do? They responded to him saying, well, you got to agree to a catch weight, 50-50 split. I mean, what? Okay, again, you don't call out other weight classes, and when one of those fighters responds to your challenge, you're gonna tell that fighter that he needs to do a catch weight. You don't do that. But I don't want to go too long about that. So I kind of agree with your point on that one, Black Latin sees. But at the end of the day, Golovkin did step up his competition. He does get credit for stepping up at least, regardless of how he looks. Yes, that is debatable, but he does still deserve credit. Yeah, Dwayne, I'll send you a link to it. So give me 1 second. Ross Clyde definitely agrees with me. These races do make you hate the fighter that you used to like. It does. It does. Trust me, I was on the verge of not really liking Gennady Golovkin, but at the same time, I say, you know what? I'm not gonna allow these races to change my point of view. I'm not gonna allow them to affect my rational way of thinking. So I'm definitely gonna give credit where credit is due, and I've done that with Golovkin, and I've definitely done that with Joshua. And I'll say this once, and I say it again. I give Anthony Joshua more praise and more credit than I ever done with Deontay Wilder. And Ross Clyde, you know that too. Look at my videos; they're still up. And yet these people who come at me and criticize me for supporting Wilder, yet they still attack me for that. Attack me for criticizing Wilder, but yet they don't like the fact that I'm rational and I keep it in the middle between these two fighters. I'll criticize Joshua when I have to criticize him, and I definitely criticize Wilder when I have to criticize him. And yes, I said that Wilder should not turn down his offer. I criticized him for that when he was offered the $12.5 million flat fee. I said he should never have turned that down. But at the same time, I can understand where he was coming from in that situation. So I can't even think rationally about this. So this is what pisses me off, man. But at the same time, I still keep my rational way of thinking, despite me being angry at people who come at me in a derogatory way. Anyways, I've been enough bantering here. I'm gonna go ahead and get D Style and Dwayne Jones in here. Give me 1 second. Get these fellas in here. All right, let me get D Style. Let me get Dwayne. All right, let me get D Style. Hang out link. Yes, we'll chop it up real shortly, guys. We'll be long. Because D Style and I have a little bit of a disagreement on the Joshua Parker numbers, which is all good though. Let me get Dwayne in here too. All right, hop on, bro. Ooh, let me see. Champ Ross asked me, did I see the Andre the Giant documentary on HBO? No, I didn't. I heard it was very good, but I did catch a snippet on that on Hulk Hogan. He mentioned that how much Andre hated Randy Savage, the Macho Man Randy Savage. God rest his soul as well. And this is funny though, coming from a guy who Randy Savage hated so much over the years, and Hogan is known to be a habitual liar. I mean, but at the same time, I'm not calling him a liar on this situation. He could be telling the truth because Randy Savage, I think in one of his shoot interviews before his passing, he even confirmed that Andre the Giant hated him so much. Now, as far as why Andre hated Randy, I don't know. But I can tell you though, according to Hogan, Hogan said that the reason why Andre hated Randy so much is because Randy used to always put on so much baby oil going into the ring, so that way his body looks cut up, going in there because he can look so chiseled as much as he can. You know these wrestlers when they go in there, they all oiled up and shit, so that way they can look sculpture going into the ring, as if they're bodybuilders. I mean, none of them really didn't have bodybuilding physiques, but they were big and muscular. That's what Vince McMahon. That was the look he wanted back in those days, and he still kind of has those type of fetishes for those type of physiques today. So, I mean, that's the way it is. All right, somebody must have hopped on here. Oh, we got Dwayne. What's going on, man?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good. It's
Yeah,
very
good.
late, and it's very late in the UK right now.
I can imagine,
Got,
man.
I got to get ready for work. So
No problem, man. No
yeah.
problem. I promise I won't be on long because I got to get off in about an hour or two. I think what's the time? Is it over? 2 a.m. over there right now?
No, it's 5. It's like 5.
Oh, 5 in the morning. Ooh, damn. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
super early in the morning. It's all good. It's all good, man. So, man, first things first. What do you think about Tyson Fury's comeback, man? His announcing his return today.
Well, you know, it was expected. I was just thinking, when was it going to happen? Because he kept on saying like, "Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen." We are kind of like waiting. It's expected. It just, for me, it's like just adding fresh life into the heavyweight division. To be honest.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I definitely agree
yeah,
with that. But to be honest with you, I thought he wasn't serious about coming back because he was saying this for the last year and a half now, and we're like, okay, man, are you gonna come back or are you gonna just retire? I mean, you did announce your retirement 2 years ago. Then you changed your mind about 2 weeks later, okay? And now it's like we just don't know what was going on with him. It's like, dude, it got to the point to me. It's like, you know what, man, I don't think you're serious. Let's just say you're retired and leave it at that, okay? Just say
yeah,
that. But
yeah, yeah.
uh, I mean, then again, of course, you could say the signs were right on the. There were signs where he was losing a lot of weight. He was working out daily in the gym, trying to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One thing that like caught me was because he kind of explained why he didn't sign with Eddie Hearn. Oh well, Eddie Hearn
Right.
explained why he didn't think Tyson Fury would sign with him, and why Fury probably signed with Frank Warren, and it was because Eddie Hearn didn't want Tyson Fury is going to have 4 fights in between now and the end of the year, but it's going to be against some total bums. Like, remember when David Haye came back and he fought like a YouTube fighter, and he fought like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's exactly what Tyson Fury is going to do. He's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, you know what though? I don't blame Tyson Fury for doing that. But as far as David Hay, okay, I'll give him a pass for one fight with Mark Demori. But the second fight, nah, man. Because first of all, because this is what he did. He kind of conned the British public. You might not agree with me on this one. He conned the British public and say, "Hey, look, my next opponent is going to give you fireworks. I guarantee my next fight is going to give you fireworks." And who did he announce? Arnold Jive. Okay, and
Yeah,
I'll admit to
yeah.
you.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, because I wanted because what happened was I think the big thing that we thought was gonna happen was he was gonna fight Shannon Briggs, and we were
Right.
all thinking that was gonna be like an interesting fight, because David Hayes one of them guys like we all know he can fight, but he's one of them ones like if you get to his head. He will lose himself in the fight, And for me, Shannon Briggs is dangerous for the first 3 rounds, Even though
Yeah.
he's old in age, he's dangerous for at least the first 3 rounds. So I was looking forward to that fight, but then apparently David Haye ducked him and whatever or not. So
Yeah,
then yeah,
that's a good point too, because that's a fight everybody wanted to see. Because look, it's a crossroads fight. It's a crossroads fight. Two men are way past their best. And I agree with you. Briggs was way way at past his best, but he's dangerous in the first 2 rounds or so. D Style just got in the chat. What's up, D Style? I'll get to
What's
you in a
up?
second. What's up, brother? I'll get to you in a second. But the fact is that David Hay, he kind of public with Jared Drive, and I'll admit though, I thought Jared Drive was an okay heavyweight at first, but when I saw him perform against Hay, I was like, nah, man, fuck this. This is a con. This dude, this dude, this dude didn't even throw a jab. I mean, he didn't even throw a punch, and he went down. He got knocked out with a jab. Not even
Yeah,
a jab that he even had much muster into that punch. I'm like, okay, all right,
yeah,
wait a minute. And
yeah,
and I made a media video response to that fight. I'm like, come on, David. Hey, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. You really gonna
yeah. I
con the
know.
British public for that shit, man? I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
that's why they don't really like him. They don't like him anymore. They think he's too arrogant and he's just one of them guys, you know.
Yeah,
That's why now he's trying to play like the victim against Tony Bellew, you know, because he got injured. He's like,
yeah.
yeah, Tony beat me fair and square, but deep down in his heart, he knows if he had, because he against Klitschko, you saw him. He was like, my toe, my toe. If he had did that against Tony Bellew, they would have crucified him there and then.
Oh yeah,
So I
definitely,
think,
definitely.
yeah, he had to just take that road. He had to just take that road. But I don't know. I think Fury coming back will be
Yeah.
good. But I just don't know. They said he's gonna fight um a washed up guy who won the British a guy who was fighting at lightweight has gone up to heavyweight now. I
Light
don't know
heavyweight,
who
light.
sorry
Oh, okay,
sorry
yeah, the lightweight.
yeah,
Whoa.
from light heavyweight, but the guy's so out of shape. Apparently this
No.
happened. Yeah, he was a light
Oh.
heavyweight, but the guy's so out of shape he's gone up to heavyweight. So that's gonna be his first fight in Manchester. So who
Nah.
knows?
Well, like I said, man, you
Yeah.
can't blame him. I mean, he's been out of the ring for 3 years. And he's abused his body at the same time too. So, like, we got to give him benefit of the doubt on this one. Let's just see how if he don't the only questions that we're gonna have to ask is like, okay, well, his sharpness. I'll give feedback back there. Okay, is you're gonna get is his sharpness or his agility is it still gonna be there from his last fight with Klitschko? Is his boxing skills gonna be on par? So we gotta see those questions answers when he get in. But D style, I want to get your opinion on this one. What do you think about Tyson Fury's return?
Well, I don't have much of an opinion on it because I don't know if he's gonna return. You know, and well, I guess that is my opinion, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's very unpredictable. So
that's true.
if he does fight like someone known, I'm okay with that. It's return fight, battling depression and drugs and all this other crazy stuff and the crazy weight he got.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, if he comes back and fights anybody, okay, I'll be impressed. So I just want to see him make a comeback. And but do I envision him ever beating a top fighter ever again? I'm going to be very honest. No, I don't.
So yeah, so you think you really don't think he could beat a Wilder or Joshua, even if he takes three or four sit ups?
Can he do it? Of course he can.
Uh,
Will he? I don't know. I mean, I don't even think. Look, something just tells me that whenever we see him fight a Wilder or an AJ or someone in that level, those are pretty much the two top guys right now. But when he does get to that point, I just have a feeling when we watch that fight, we're all going to know that's just not the Tyson Fury we knew. Like that's just the feeling I get. I'll be extremely shocked, and I'm telling you, if this guy can actually pull it off, all right, Vince McMahon cannot write that story. Okay, right? If he comes back, all right, and he wins the heavyweight strap again, that would be one of the biggest comebacks in boxing history, given the circumstance.
Yeah.
Well, from the way he's speaking, I think he's going to go down the Joshua route before the Wilder route as well. Because for me, one thing I know about Fury is that he thinks Joshua is much more easier than Wilder, because he believes Wilder, like everybody knows that Wilder, the fight is not over, round is gone, or he's literally knocked out, because obviously he's got that right hand. But
Yo, brother, you're cutting off, man. Dwayne, you there? Yo.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you cut off for a second. Can you go ahead and repeat that again, man?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that he's going down the Joshua route because he believes if you put a boxer in front of Joshua, Joshua's not that good of a fighter. But my thing is that I believe the reason why Tyson Fury beat Klitschko is because for me, Klitschko didn't take any risk in that fight. I know if Joshua was down on the scorecards or Wilder's down on the scorecards, I know they're coming for his head. That's just my opinion. I know that.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And Fury likes guys who just stands there and they don't move. That's what he does best. He'll box him in circles. He'll confuse him just like Klitschko he did to Klitschko. So he feels Joshua is more of a stiffer target because Wilder moves a lot. That's the thing, and he'd be much more different opponent.
Let me say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I know the David Haye fight with Tyson Fury got postponed like once or twice. I forgot how many times.
It was twice.
Okay, so I don't remember it was the first time or the second time, but because I was following him on Twitter when I had Twitter, but I remember the shape that when I saw Tyson Fury with a six-pack, okay, and I mean that Tyson Fury, I don't think anybody could beat that guy, right?
No.
So, but the thing is, I mean, David Haye had an injury all of a sudden.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly what the same thing we got here.
So if he could come back and be that Tyson, just somewhat that, because he was in better shape there than he was for the Klitschko fight, So if he can reach that point, I mean, nobody's going to beat him. The thing is, I am a betting man, and I'm telling you, I don't think the odds are so against Tyson Fury making a comeback. It just isn't funny. Him coming back and beating some bum in the ring, just him getting back in boxing shape and overcoming his demons and getting a win in the boxing ring against some nobody, believe it or not, is actually a pretty big accomplishment, right? Maybe the boxing public won't care much, but I personally do think that would be a hell of a comeback from wanting to kill himself, right?
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, if he could make a comeback and win the heavyweight championship of the world again, let's say it's against AJ, you got to make a movie about that. It just has to be done.
Wow. Yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. It'll be a definitely good story to write. I mean, it'd definitely be a perfect story to write. I mean, a lot of filmmakers will probably get on that and say, you know what, this is a man who nearly was, to the brink of obscurity. You know what I mean? After his suspension, and look what he did to come back. He worked his ass off. He got his life back together. He became world heavyweight champion once again, even though he never lost it in the ring. So if he could pull that off, oh man, all power to Tyson Fury, man. All power to him. But I wanted to ask you guys about this too. Joseph Parker. Now, Eddie Hearn, I'm sure you saw this story earlier today. Eddie Hearn responded to a Twitter response by an individual named Eddie King, right? And I know Eddie King. I don't know him, but I know that he's an uploader, right? He posted on Twitter on Anthony Joshua's previous opponents, right? Purses, right? And Eddie Hearn responded to that. He said, "Where'd you get that figure of Parker's purses from?" Right? And he laughed, crying, laughing, right? And then Eddie Hearn responded to that Twitter feed as well, saying, "First of all, that's half of what you're reporting. So even that half is too much." So the Sun picked it up. They picked up Eddie Hearn's response, and they say, "Well, you see, Joseph Parker never got $13 million guaranteed. 13 million pounds, I should say. He never got that guaranteed. He got about 6-7 million pounds guaranteed." So the thing is that it's kind of confusing here because the Parker's team didn't debunk it. They never came out and debunked that claim. But at the same time, Parker's team never debunked the claim that they got 13 million pounds when it was announced.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying but the thing is, listen, Parker's just come off a loss, so no one's really going to want to hear what he's going to say anyway. But for me, I believe Eddie Hearn's lying. I just believe he's lying because the hype for that fight in the UK, the hype that was around that fight, because obviously it's Anthony Joshua, but it's also becoming the first, unified champion this country's had since Lennox Lewis, even though it's not all the belts.
Right.
Like the promotion that had and the hype that fight had was huge. So, and AJ, the fight apparently AJ made around 17 million for that fight. Yeah.
Right.
So, but apparently the what is it? The overall revenue of that fight would have generated about 30 million or something like that, or just over. So, and what Parker's people were saying was that when they offered, I believe that's a lie, because when Parker's first got lowballed, they offered him 3 million.
Right.
They said it was reported he offered 3 million, and they said that we're getting bumped. If you don't want to give us what we want, then you're gonna have to go fight Wilder. So that's why the percentage went up. I believe that Parker I think he got a fixed sum of 9 mil that could go up to 13 mil. That's what I believe.
Yeah, you know, because it's real simple. Eddie Hearn might be giving us what the guarantee was, but after everything that was generated, I'm pretty sure that the Parker side negotiated a split, which means that they would get some sort of revenue based on whatever they make past the guarantee.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. I think they negotiated 25% of the total revenue.
Right. So either Eddie Hearn is telling me that how much did Eddie Hearn said Parker made?
Well,
Go ahead,
Joey. I'm sorry.
It made 13. They were saying Eddie Hearn just said that Parker made less than 5 million or something like that. But from all the stories that came out, that it said that Parker was earning a fixed sum between 7 to 9 mil, and it is potentially could rise to 13 mil, because what you need to also note is that Parker got New Zealand TV rights as well.
Right.
Yeah. He got all those rights as well. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, but my thing is, didn't Parker negotiate a 30%?
Yeah, he got 30.
Right. So Eddie Hearn must think we're stupid. So apparently Eddie Hearn wants me to believe that 30% of all the gross made for that fight was 5 million. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I said. I know he's lying. I believe he's lying.
Well, here's the one thing I will have to say about this, though, because correct me if I'm wrong about this, Dwayne. In the UK, they don't report this to the commission of the fighters' purses, correct? The athletic commission.
They don't.
Okay, see, that's where kind of the conflicts come into play, because here in the States, you have to report that as a promoter or a manager. You have to write that into the state athletic commission for tax purposes. That has to be reported. So I'm not saying accuse anyone of lying or fixing the books here, but it just gets a little confusing because somebody's not telling the truth. Bottom line. And the only way to fix this problem...
but then I also think it's a strategy for Wilder to take the flat fee, if you understand what I mean.
I was going to get into that. I was like, do you really believe... You just asked my question right there. What do you think about that, D-Style? Do you think it's a strategy for Wilder to get take that flat fee? For Eddie Hearn to come out and say that?
I mean, I'm not in Eddie Hearn's head, but it sounds like it is, right? Look... Taking the flat fee for a fight that everybody wants to see is the stupidest thing a fighter could do. Okay, it just is. So let me give you 2 examples. Right, example number 1: Mayweather was offering Pacquiao a flat fee of 40 million. Right, and the argument was, well, that's more than you've ever made. Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, if Pacquiao would have said yes to that, well, he would have been an idiot. Okay, he ended up making like 160 million or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oscar De La Hoya was telling Gennady Golovkin, by the way, isn't he in the stories today, by the way? All right, but when Oscar De La Hoya, was in a less embarrassing story, saying 10 million for Gennady Golovkin, and saying the same thing. What's more than Gennady Golovkin has ever made, right?
Yeah.
And what happened? Gennady Golovkin said, "Nah, bruh. Everybody wants to see this fight." In boxing, you see, it is true that, of course, there's a guy that's the lion's share. Now people want to be cool and they call it the A side, all right?
Right.
Okay, me growing up, it was called the lion's share. They get the lion's share of the money. Right. But in boxing, what sells is a fight, right?
Right.
So people wanted to see Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo, right? So of course, Gennady Golovkin's going to say, "Nah, I'm not going to take a flat fee. It's a fight everybody wants to see. So look, Canelo gets the lion's share, but I'm gonna get a piece of the pie." Look at what he made. He made far more, like 3 times that amount, didn't he? Or at least doubled it.
Yeah.
He did. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I was guilty of this too because I felt that Golovkin should have taken it. It was more than he ever made. But then again, I did kind of revisit that
Well,
situation.
hindsight's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it
Right?
is. It is. But I will say this though. I did look at that situation again and say, you know what? He did the right thing of holding out because as you said, everybody wanted to see the fight. There was a lot of demand for it.
And
But the
look,
one, a lot of, the one thing I would say though is that a lot of people were saying the demand of that fight was higher on the Mayweather and Pacquiao scale. I was like, no, it's not. It's not on that scale. But
No, it
it's
wasn't.
demand for. Yeah,
well, that's why we're talking different figures. One guy was 10 million, the other guy was 40 million. I mean, some people bring up the obvious, but
yeah,
like in this case, we're not talking about 40 million.
yeah.
If Wilder was offered 40 million, I'd be like, bro, take it. Like, you know what I mean? But what is being offered right now, which is actually 8.8 pounds. I know some dude in Taiwan was saying that Americans are arrogant and
Yeah,
and that it's 18 million. But nah, bro, it's 8.8 pounds, which is about over 12.5 million. Okay. But check your sources before you go out and say Americans are, this, that, a third, right? Okay, so but anyway, so and by the way, come on, we got arrogant people in the UK too, and in the US. It is what it is.
Oh,
okay?
of course. Look at Tyson Fury.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Right, it's the same roots and shit, But here's the thing, right? The way I see it, okay, when it comes to this fight, it's look. If I want to see the fight, if Wilder were to say, "Oh yeah, I'll take it," look, I'm not going to argue about it. I'll be like, "Okay, great, I get to see the fight."
Yeah.
Right? But in the outside looking in, it would be dumb to just take the flat rate, right?
Yeah.
This fight's going to generate a lot of money, and just looking, put what it's going to make in the UK alone, which is a lot, but in the US, it's going to make money. People acting like it's not. Yes, it is. HBO and Showtime will more than likely buy the rights, both of them, to that fight here in the United States, right? They're going to fork up a lot of money for that.
Yeah, that's a good point because Showtime just threw their name in the hat. Steven Espinoza said, "Hey, look, we'll mediate this. We'll try to do what we can to get this fight done." So it looks like they're going to put some money up as well.
Which that means moolah. That means dinero. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care what currency. I'll give you the currency in pesos. Okay. It doesn't matter what currency we're talking about. We're talking about a lot of money, right? And at the end of the day, we can't ignore that. We can't just say, okay, all right, Wilder, you're going to just take this flat rate and, we'll do the rest of the counting of that money. That's just not the way it works,
One thing I'm thinking is, I think the fight is kind of being delayed. Was Parker's, Joshua's fight against Parker was his last fight on Showtime, right?
Yeah, that was his last. His last fight on his contract with Showtime.
So I think, like he said, HBO is going to come on, try to get the rights for that fight as well, but also gonna try to offer Joshua a deal, to fight on HBO.
Well, what's happening is that Showtime is buying the rights to air it live, and HBO is buying the rights to air it on prime time here, right? So that's what's happening a lot, especially with the with Joshua fights, for whatever reason, right? And if they did it for the Parker fight, they're gonna do it for this fight too. It's just going to happen.
That's a good point. Well, speaking of the Showtime rights, D-Sal, you and I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
So, kind of convince me on this situation. How was the fight on the U.S. telecast a flop, even though it was not aired on prime time?
Well, first of all, it was Saturday afternoon. Then it was in on a Thursday.
Right.
Saturday. A lot of people don't work Saturday afternoon. And that's when they have college football.
That's true.
I was wrong about one thing, right?
Okay.
Apparently, there was a Final Four game on TV, right? So I was wrong about that. But but still, there's fights that have been on when there was college football that got more views than this. I mean, these were very low ratings. 4.5 million is not very good. That's a very low number, especially put it in perspective. This is a heavyweight unification match.
Yeah.
There were two undefeated heavyweights fighting for the heavyweight title, unifying 3 of the 4 belts.
But one thing I would say in that argument of I personally think why the ratings were probably low is because if you look at both of those two fighters, none of them had even been marketed probably other than Joshua with Showtime. They've never been marketed out of their region.
Right.
You see, so Parker, when you think of Parker, they're like, oh, New Zealand, and they just think of him over there. They've never thought of him here in the UK. That's why people thought that Joshua was going to wipe the floor with him because they've never even heard of him or anything like that.
Yep, exactly.
So what you're telling me, you're explaining to me why it was a flop, is what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just saying that everybody knows like that nobody now is a Floyd Mayweather. So like you have to look at it as in like people need each other. As much as Joshua is a bigger star than Wilder in the UK, he needs Wilder to make that $100 million fight. Do you understand?
Right.
I hear you.
So that's what I mean. Like the US, the reason why Joshua did big numbers versus Klitschko was because it was Klitschko. Klitschko was still kind of popular, even though Americans probably don't really like his fighting style or whatever.
Yeah.
But in Germany, he fights in Germany all the time. He's a big star there. So European wise, it was a huge fight. But you see, but against someone like Parker, New Zealand, no one really even heard of him. You know, so that's what I believe.
My thing is, you don't have to be a Floyd Mayweather to get respectable numbers on Showtime. You know, I'm not expecting him to sell 2 million pay-per-views. I'm just expecting for at least 700,000 people to tune in and watch the fight. You know, it's for free. Like, you're not paying $49.99 for it. You know, so it's on the Saturday afternoon. I mean, I get what you're saying, Dan the Man, but primetime Saturday is actually not a very good day for a lot of stuff. You know, it isn't. You know, so it's Saturday afternoon, especially we don't have college football right now, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So that's a good point. I didn't really take that into account, but what I'll take into account is that their budget. I have to assume their budget wasn't that high to spend to license the fight, and plus they didn't have to spend money on their purses because you have to take into account, as I said, that Joshua's purse is very, very expensive. Now you have to contribute. You have to attribute Parker's purse to that as well. So since those factors didn't really come into play, all they had to do was fly their commentators out to cover the fight. That really didn't need to cost that much, and their licensing fee to broadcast the fight didn't really have to cost that much. So.
Look, I'm not trying to rag on the fighters, okay? I'm ragging on the sport. That's what I'm ragging on. And the ratings in boxing just in general in the U.S. have been atrocious, all right, for a while. They've been going down, and all I hear are excuses. All I hear is, because there's more channels now than ever. All I hear is, because it was in the afternoon, and all I hear is, it's because – it was on HBO, and a lot of people don't have HBO. And I just keep hearing all this stuff where, if Ray Mercer fights, when he was fighting, would get millions of people to tune in. Lennox Lewis, millions of people would tune in to watch him. We can't even get 500,000 people to watch a unification title match. That is embarrassing to the sport. Not embarrassing in terms of in the UK and Europe. It's embarrassing in the US.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Boxing has declined in the US over the last 3 years after the Mayweather. I'm telling you
right now, if Lennox Lewis is fighting on Showtime on a Saturday afternoon, back when Lennox was fighting, that thing would get millions of viewers.
Absolutely. It depends on the marketing and the dollars behind it. Well, so that's what I'm saying.
He was from the UK. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I hear you. Because Lennox was marketed a lot better in the U.S. He had a better, Frank Maloney did a very good job with him. I think he was promoted by Kathy doing main events for a bit as well. So they both did a great job with him. So.
Why can't a heavyweight boxer now do what, I remember when Vitaly Klitschko Ariola did over 2 million views.
How long ago was that one? How long ago was that? 2009?
Was that like 08, 07, something like that?
07, 08? Okay,
Klitschko, I mean, he'll get like 1.9 million when he would fight on HBO.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know you don't like to hear the word excuses because back then streaming was not available back then, live streaming. So there's a lot of live streaming accounts
Don't
back
you
then.
think though that with the technology of streaming, that more people should be watching it? You know, like I mean, I'm just saying. It's
Well, you have to
easier
understand.
to access this stuff. Like if you're subscribed to DirecTV, to Dish, to Spectrum, to Comcast, they all have like on the go. Like you actually have like that Showtime app, and you could watch it if you're at a birthday party. You know, you couldn't do that back in 07.
Well, what I mean by that, let me clarify that. What I mean by that is that illegal streaming, where there's nobody who subscribes to those channels, but yet they could go somewhere else and do it for free without paying for it. That's what I meant. Without being a subscriber. That's what I meant by that.
Look, I'm pretty sure that if we look into that, there wasn't this huge influx of illegal streaming of Joshua versus Parker in the U.S. Right? I just don't think that was a thing. You know,
I don't know.
I just think personally, like back then, when you're talking Lennox Lewis and that, you need to understand like all the. It's a joint thing. Like when fights get big and created. When Lennox Lewis was fighting, the reason why the UK fans tuned into it is because people were hearing of Mike Tyson. You know, the fear that Mike Tyson was putting out, Evander Holyfield out there, and they're like, oh, we got a UK fighter who's there, so let's support him. You see how Joshua's here. The reason why they support Joshua is because they believe that he's one of the top people in the glamorous, division. Boxing, before Joshua even came, boxing was, people think of it as when David Hay was on top, people support him. When he went down, they got rid of him. Ricky Hatton, the same thing. They thought of Ricky Hatton because Floyd Mayweather. They were like, oh, this big name, we got a guy who can actually challenge him. That's how they support stuff over here. So that's how I think of it. It's a joint thing. Like if there's no bigger fight out there, then a bigger name out there, there's going to be a problem in terms of the wider audience out of other than the UK, watching. To be honest,
right? Yeah. There's solid points on the both end, but D-side, like you said, man, I'm not saying you're wrong, but you definitely have some very good points, and I agree with that. There's some points I didn't really take into account, but I have reason to believe that since Parker was not a known name here, they didn't really have to spend too much money to budget the fight, given the fact they didn't have to pay out these fighters' purses and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying 400,000 views is something they should be glamoring, they should be enjoying, because I did look at the viewership with Joshua's fights here in the States. They have been declining. They have. I will agree with you on that. They have declined.
There's no reason that Joshua versus Takam should be doing similar numbers to Joshua versus Parker. There's just no reason behind that. Okay. And whatever it's, maybe they need a Don King. They need an old school promoter that's going to actually promote, and they don't do that anymore. So, I mean, look, it was, you could argue, well, the promoter was in the UK and it was a success in the UK.
Yeah.
And over here, all we did was air the fight. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, when I look at those numbers, they're not really good numbers. I remember when Calzaghe versus Kessler got like 1.5 million views, and everybody was ragging on that shit. Okay, like, oh my God, horrible ratings. You know what they would do to get those ratings again?
Yeah.
Like if they could get Calzaghe numbers right now, they would be like, holy shit, over 1 million views, right?
Well, let me ask you this. In an age of illegal live streaming, illegal, that's why I say illegal, you think Calzaghe would do 1 million streams right now? I mean, 1 million views right now on non-primetime television. Do you think he'll do it here in the States?
If he fought Hopkins again, sure, why not?
Well, I'm not saying Hopkins. Not a Hopkins. I'm saying like a fighter, like
like Kessler.
Kind of like Kessler, yeah.
Yeah, because HBO actually promoted that fight. That fight didn't air here. But they were airing those boxing is life, montages with Calzaghe and Kessler. You remember those?
Yeah, I remember
the
that.
whole boxing is my life and this, that, and the third, showing highlights about them. They were actually promoting the fight, even though it didn't even air here. That thing was, what was it, in Wales, I believe?
Yeah, it was in Wales. But I will say this, though, D-Star. I will say this. Good point. But again, I just say that if illegal live streaming had an effect back then, it would hinder some of those ratings. I don't think it'll get to 1 million.
Look,
I don't think it will.
So when it comes to illegal live, so it's apparently it's affecting everything except like the NFL. The NFL also getting records numbers for the Super Bowl and for the playoffs and NFL Sunday ticket subscriptions. It's not hurting that, but for some reason it's really having an impact in boxing.
Well, let me tell you something. Why do you think the NFL has gone to live streaming avenue recently? Why have they done that?
Because that's the way of the future. But you could have
Yeah,
streamed it on the
exactly.
Showtime app. You could have watched Joshua Spark on the Showtime app.
I
That's what
hear
I
you.
saw.
I agree. I got that too. But many people don't subscribe to Showtime. You have to pay for that app. That's the thing. So
Look,
what's the way to get around that?
I'm not asking for them to get 4 million views, man. I'm just asking for, can you at least get close to like the Gennady Golovkin, Cal Brook numbers, at least? That's all I'm asking for.
What the hell much they did? 600,000.
That did about 750,000.
Yeah, it did about 700,000. Because
Okay.
Eddie Hearn said after the fight that he thought it'd do a bit more. But
okay.
he said he was kind of disappointed in that. Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. How much did Triple G get for that Kell Brook fight?
He got 5 million. It was a 50-50 split.
Oh,
But from what I've heard, he didn't get the revenue over there, the Sky pay-per-view, because he got the revenue for the total revenue for he got the lion's share for the HBO out here. So which is the licensing fee. So that's what he got here. So that's why he didn't get the pay-per-view revenue. Phil Brook kept the pay-per-view revenue. As far as the total revenue, the ticket revenue, I'm not sure about that. I think he got a percentage out of that too. So he got a pretty good deal. He got a 50-50 split plus some bit of a percentage of the total revenue, and he got the licensing share over here in the States. But Kell Brook got the pay-per-view buy revenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got a good deal. He got a very good deal.
Kell Brook. What a mistake that was.
Yeah. Well, he
could win as well. People actually thought he could win as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, he put up a good effort. He gave Golovkin a very difficult time. So,
I tell you
even though it lasted 5 rounds.
I tell you one thing. When I went to the workout in Sheffield, right? I went with my friend, and when Kell Brook came out, they were like, oh yeah, Kell Brook. They were looking at his combination, how quick he was. They're thinking, oh, Kell Brook, yeah, he could do it. When Triple G came out and he was hitting the pads, the bang that you could hear, yeah, people were looking at their face. Some people were like, Kell Brook might get killed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, there was, I think he landed an uppercut or something.
Yeah.
Or in that final, and I was like, shit.
It was in the second round.
But then his eyes started to deteriorate on him.
Yeah.
His eye betrayed him in that fight.
Man.
Yeah, but it is what it is, yeah. I mean,
do you think Eubank versus Triple G would have been a better fight?
I think that would have been a better fight. I think Eubank would have gave him a better challenge. But looking at that fight, look how Eubank performed against Groves. I don't think.
But Groves can box. Triple G, I don't know if Triple G can box. I know Triple G's got a good jab, but I don't know he can box.
That's a good point.
It was I knew it was a mistake when he was jumping from welterweight directly to middleweight. And then when I kept hearing all this garbage that had been done before, when it really hasn't. So what I mean by that, has a guy that once fought at welterweight moved his way up to middleweight and fought a middleweight champion? Yes, but they fought a lot of fights in between that. Right? They didn't just jump from one fight at welterweight and the next fight at middleweight. I can't think of one example of that other than this fight. From Felix Trinidad, of course, he was at welterweight, and then he went to 154, had a couple fights. He went to 160, fought Will and Joppy, then he fought Hopkins, and he still couldn't do it.
Well, you know what? Just to answer your question, there was one fight that I could think of. It was Marlon Starling versus Michael Nunn. Marlon Starling jumped.
All right.
Yeah, he skipped. He was the lineal welterweight champion of the world. And he was already proven. So, and Marlon Starling was a great welterweight. So they felt that he was a formidable challenger to Michael Nunn. And Michael Nunn was coming off a layoff, so they thought he could go up to 2 weight classes and beat Nunn. But he gave Nunn a very good fight until Nunn kind of took control towards the end. He didn't knock him out. He went the distance with him. But the fact is that I'm not comparing Kell Brook to Marlon Starling. No way, hell. I am not doing that.
well, Triple G is no Nunn either. So
yeah, exactly. Speaking of Triple G, man, since we're on him now, he can't get an opponent for May 5th, man. It looks like they're going to have to cancel that event from way things are.
Because they don't want to accept his bum quest. That's why.
He can't get a fight. Wink, wink. Look. If he wanted a fight on May 5th, he would have gotten one. But,
I was hearing something about Abel Sanchez chooses his opponents or something. So I'm thinking, why is Tom Loeffler there anyway? Then
Exactly. Well, you know what though? Here, I was going to say though. I think what it is that Tom Loeffler is selecting the opponents, but he's going through Abel and say, "Hey, do you think you guys can beat him? Take a look at him."
yeah,
Abel's like, "No, I don't think we can't take that fight." So Tom is looking for the opponents, but Abel has to finalize it.
Well,
He
the
has
thing
to,
is, I think they're looking for a small risk, as big a reward as possible, because they don't want to lose that Canelo rematch. You know, so
oh yeah,
that's what it is. You know, but I'm surprised the fight got canned, to be honest with you. So,
do you think Canelo is gonna have a warm up fight before he fights Triple G, or you think he'll go straight into it?
he's going straight into it. But here's the deal. I think what's going to happen is, from the looks of it, this fight's going to get canceled. The Golovkin's fight, I should say, is going to get canceled. So once he gets canceled, Golovkin is not allowed to fight anyone else until Canelo's cleared. That's going to age him out even more. So Canelo, if he gets cleared, he'll be in better condition than Triple G. They'll go straight into it. Yeah,
man, they're going to have that 24/7. They're going to be talking about how nobody wanted to fight Golovkin, and you know, so he had to wait till Canelo was cleared again, or some shit like that. Just watch.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, it's sad though because what I've been hearing though, Loeffler is trying to push Vanes Monterosian as the opponent, and I got no problem with Monterosian, but I don't see him winning the fight, obviously. But you know, he's jumping for 154 though.
But you know what though? It depends. I mean, how much does Gennady Golovkin wants to get paid?
Well, here's the problem here. He's not going to get the purse that he would have got at T-Mobile against Canelo. That's not going to happen. He's not going to get the lion's share. He's not going to get that because it's not pay-per-view. The only thing he could get out of this is the total revenue sales, which is going to be way down than what he would have gotten at T-Mobile. And he's going to get the licensing fee. Now, the problem is they can't even get the appropriate budget for the licensing. That's the problem they're running into now. So it's like I don't see how they could get this fight done, especially they can't even get any opponents approved. You know,
Now you know the reason why he was willing to fight Canelo, even though Canelo was on that contaminated meat.
Yeah, we know why.
He wanted to get that check.
He should have probably not made a big fuss about it. You know.
Yeah. I think that's what made it worse when he went on ESPN and was like, "I know he's been cheating. I suspected it in the first fight. You know, those are accusations that you're making. So people are gonna look into that. You know."
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I think it was like.
Like at that point, you put the commission on the spot. Like they gotta act, you know. So
yeah, but yeah, I wanted to say something. Olaf in the mighty in the comment section said, "Hey, Triple G's holding those belts hostage." He's like, he was telling Triple G, "Forget Canelo. You got 3 mandatories that's due, man." Olaf, I know he's got one. That's Sergey Derevchenko, because Lula Bell is trying to push the IBF to sanction that fight and try to get him stripped if he doesn't take that fight. Number one. As far as the WBC, they haven't mandated Charlo yet. I'm not sure about the WBA. I'm not sure who's the number one contender there is, but all I know is that the IBF is the one that's close to mandating that fight, and they're trying to push him to fight Derevchenko. And Derevchenko is a dangerous guy. I've seen him fight. That's a dangerous fight for Golovkin at this point if he takes that fight. Even though he's got only 12 fights, but he's pretty dangerous. So, and he's pretty experienced, you know, going back to his amateur days. So, Golovkin's team, I don't think they're going to want that fight. Even though they said he was on the short list, but I don't think they really want to go for that one. But his thing is, again, it's just like, I don't know, man. Monterosian, I'm okay with.
But that's the reason why they were kind of looking at Saunders, because even though Saunders is not a big draw, a big draw, it's a perfect fight because also it's a belt, but it's probably his. Other than Canelo, the person who could give him the second biggest payday, to be honest.
True. But Saunders is hurt, so he won't be able to compete. So that's out of the question.
Saunders was willing to push the fight back a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think Triple G wants that, to be honest. He wants on that specific date, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You can't just put any Latin fighter there and expect the people to show up. I mean, that's why you can't do that. So they kind of...
That why they were trying to put Vanes or what?
Well,
it sounds Hispanic. Okay.
Yeah, Vanes, I know he's Armenian, but here's the thing: they need to come up with an opponent real quick. They got about 3 weeks now. Hopefully, Loeffler makes an announcement tomorrow and it's approved by the commissions and the sanctioning bodies. So we'll see. So Sullivan just dropped out 2 weeks. I forgot to mention that he dropped out because he felt that look, since this fight's not on pay-per-view, it's not in a bigger venue where I can get some bit of the line, bit of total revenue sales. I'm not going to take that fight because it's only 3 weeks, and I'm not going to take that risk. Forget it. He was only there to take it because he thought it was going to be on pay-per-view. That was his thing because he could get a chance of that lion's share. You see, Spike Sullivan wanted the lion's share. That's what he wanted. So he's not a name, but yeah, he wanted that lion's share. He thought he was going to get it until it is what it is. Let me see. What is this here?
These fighters nowadays, man. Just let down.
It is, man. It is. But speaking of fighters, Deontay Wilder's counteroffer. That's expected. I thought it was going to come in today, but more like it's going to be tomorrow. So I wonder what that's going to be.
Did you see Joshua's interview on IFL TV today?
I heard about it.
He did one, say? And they asked him about the split. They asked him about the split, and he was like, I don't want to comment on it, blah blah blah. But we all offered him a lucrative deal, blah blah blah. So basically, I think the offer was true, but then he ended up saying that he won't accept the thing that Wilder said, that I'll take whatever you want, but then in the rematch you take the same thing. He goes, because that's still 50-50. But he said, if they offered me 60-40, but then we go halves on, I don't know, the pay-per-view, and or one of us gets the, I don't know, US TV or the pay-per-view, whatever, then he'll take the fight. So in my head, I'm calculating, if that's $100 million fight, I see it being probably a 75-25, purse way. And I don't think that's bad, but that's what I was saying to you the other day. I think Wilder will probably get about 25 to 30 mil for this fight. And then I think in the rematch, they will do, I think Joshua and his camp will do a 55-45 split. I can't see them doing any higher than that because they really believe that everything that comes to the table was being brought on Joshua's side. That's what they believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head on this one. I think that's probably what the counteroffer is going to be. And I spoke to someone today too on another hangout. I'm not sure you heard it, Dwayne or D Style. I spoke to someone who her name is Destiny. She got access to Eddie, her and AJ today. Destiny. Yeah, that's right. You talked to her. Yeah, she said that they pretty much accepted the terms. The fight is pretty much penciled in for September between Joshua and Wilder. Yes, that's what she said. That's what Eddie Hearn said. It's pretty much penciled in. So all they need to do is get Wilder's team to kind of confirm their side on the signatures and all that. She said they pretty much signed on to it. They just got to clear some other hurdles. So I'm not sure what those hurdles are. Maybe it's that counter offer. That's what we're referring to.
Yeah, hopefully. But I've like I said, I really think Joshua really wants to fight. I just think that because they even asked him about like Miller and Povetkin, and he was like, I don't really want to fight them guys, to be honest. I want Wilder next. So.
Yeah. Well, you think about it.
Wait and see.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. Think about it. They have Miller and Povetkin. No disrespect to those guys. They're good fighters, particularly Povetkin, but they have no belts. And you're not really going to get anything lucrative from that fight. I mean, look at Wilder. Wilder, not the very dangerous fighter, but you're going to make more off that fight because he's got a bit of popularity. He's got a belt. So there you go. We'll take that fight, unification bout. You have an opportunity to kind of help maximize your profits a little bit. So, I mean, Wilder is a high risk, but he's definitely a high reward.
Yeah. He is. But then yet again, one thing Joshua said today is Wilder needs him more than he needs Wilder. Because if you balance it out and you think about it, if Joshua fights Povetkin, it's experience added on to his, people still say that he's still inexperienced and stuff like that. He's still developing, whatever. But for like Wilder, people believe that he's past that road. So he has to fight the top fighters now.
Right.
So that's what he means. And obviously Wilder's, not going to really get that check. Joshua's probably still going to get like 15 mil minimum regardless. And he's still got that big fight with Tyson Fury there. That'll be big here. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of that, somebody brought this up in the comment section. Bad News Brown Boxing. What's going on, Bad News? He says that will Hearn work with Rank Warren versus AJ versus for AJ versus Fury? Well, I did comment on this on one of my uploads earlier about Hearn probably upset that Fury signed with Warren because he'd been trying to get Fury just on Matchroom for a long while now. So because Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren don't get along, and they don't like doing business with each other. Sometimes they they really despise.
The only problem for that fight is the networks. That's
Yeah,
the only problem. It'll be like Sky and Box Nation or BT, something like that. It's who's gonna have the fight.
right,
That's the big issue. That's the big issue because Eddie Hearn said he wouldn't mind making that fight. That's why you heard them talking about Fury or when's Fury coming back. Because
yeah,
they know they can make that fight. But it's the reason why he wanted Fury to sign with them is because it will be easier to make the fight through Sky.
right,
You see, yeah. But if Fury goes to Frank Warren's fighters fight on Box Nation and BT.
yeah,
So it's the crossroads of getting those networks to work with each other will be very difficult. That's
yeah,
the real reason. But then Fury didn't want to sign with Eddie Hearn because he believes Eddie Hearn always puts Joshua first.
right,
Do you understand? So
yeah,
so that's the real reason why Fury never signed with him, even though Eddie Hearn offered him more money, whatever, everything. Eddie Hearn offered him the best deal, everything, but.
yeah,
That's how it is. And Eddie Hearn didn't want him to fight 4 garbage fighters as well, so that's why.
yeah. But I also heard from heard it from the grapevine, as I call it, is that Fury wanted Joshua in part of that deal. He said, "Look, here's the deal. If you want to sign me, I'll take on some interim fights, but you got to include your fighter on that contract." And Hearn didn't want to do that. From what I've heard, he didn't want to. He
I
didn't want to
don't,
put Joshua in that contract for Fury.
I don't know. No, I think well, from what I heard, it was just the level of opponents you're going to see Tyson Fury fight in the next 4 fights. That's what I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Hearn doesn't want to be labeled like with a David Hay for fighting them YouTube fighters and them guys. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, man. Haplo type, what's going on, Haplo? Haplo's in the comment section said Joshua is a champion, so he shouldn't be needing to learn how to fight to learn. I think what Haplo means by that is that no more baby steps. Once you're a champion, there ain't no excuses no more. You got to fight the best opposition out there. You got to do it. There ain't no baby
True.
steps. There ain't.
You know what though? To be honest with you, that's just creating a scapegoat in case you lose and be like, "Oh, I wasn't even at my best just yet. I'm getting better."
Yeah.
Right? I mean, come on. Nobody wants to hear this shit, right? Like, "Oh, I'm still getting better," or whatever. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, Joshua's he's one of them guys. Like he takes stuff with a pinch of salt. So if you say, to him, he thinks the Joseph Parker fight, as much as everybody says it's a snooze fest, he thinks it was a good fight because people complain that he's never gone 12 rounds. Do you understand? That's how he looks at it.
Right.
He looks at it. Yeah, he looks at it as
fine.
The other way. So,
the glass is half full. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he looks at it, like that. So people say he's never gone 12 rounds. Then when he goes 12 rounds, people say it was a shit fight, rubbish fight, or it was a snooze fest, blah, blah, blah. And then they criticize him. That's why Fury kind of went in on him today, but he didn't go in on him because he said that people go off your last performance. And if you have a great last performance, you're the best fighter in the world. And if you don't, you're a bum,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said.
Well, Fury had some snoozers themselves. So,
Oh, yeah, he did. But that's probably why he said Deontay Wilder.
When AJ Wilder connect on that chin boy, we'll see where he's going.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad he's back because it definitely is an interesting matchmaking because somebody brought this up in my comment section. Do you think Tyson versus do you think Fury versus Wilder or Wilder versus Park? I'm sorry, versus Joshua versus Fury or Wilder versus Fury? Do you think those could be potential all-time great fights? And I say, it could be possible, but we don't know that for sure. I mean,
I know it'll be all-time great build-ups. I know that for sure. I think the Fury Wilder fight. I don't know how you guys felt about this, but do you think the way Fury and Wilder was going, do you think that would have been a bigger fight than Joshua Wilder?
You know what?
before.
Though? I would tell you. I would say this. I think that would be. I'm not sure if it'd be a bigger, but you know what? It could be because that was a fight that everybody wanted to see. Everybody was excited because Tyson Fury walked in the ring. He got to Deontay Wilder's face after he knocked out Spilka. Everybody was excited. I mean, that was a fight everybody wanted to see because it was
Yeah.
two trash talking heavyweights. They're big. They talk a lot of shit. You know what I mean? They're undefeated. They're young. They're both champions. Why not get it on? We were all waiting for that fight. We wanted to see it, you know? And
Hmm.
back then, everybody had a mutual agreement because the UK fans, the US fans, everybody wanted to see that fight, you know?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Tyson Fury, ran into some personal issues. I mean, I'm glad he cleared it up. It took 3 years to do it. But
Well,
still, though,
I mean, we don't know if we cleared it up yet, you know. But
yeah, true.
Some people believe that was kind of a duck of facing Klitschko again because they didn't believe he was going to win again.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's what some people believe, but I don't know. I think probably would have won
I mean,
again.
damn, Klitschko retired and the dude still stayed depressed. I mean, come on.
Yeah, man. But you know what the thing is too is he definitely will make things interesting. Oh, sorry, I'm sounding like Fury right now with my voice. But anyways, he'll make things interesting. But like I said, guys, I think this is good times for the heavyweights. He's back in the picture. He's gonna make things a lot interesting now. But I agree with you guys. I don't see him in the mix right now with likes of Joshua Wilder or Povetkin or Miller, Pulev. You know what? I might give him a shot at Pulev. I'm serious. I'll probably give him a shot at Pulev. But there's other lower tier heavyweights like maybe who's the other one? Kwanaki, who's a top 10 rated heavyweight. He probably could beat Kwanaki right now. He probably could beat him.
His first 4 fights are going to be British level, and then
Yeah.
apparently this is what I'm hearing. He's going to try go after Joshua in the summer.
Oh, summer next year.
In the not the spring, the spring or the winter. He's looking at Tony Bellew first.
Oh, Tony.
They're looking at Tony Bellew first because they believe Tony Bellew is going to beat David Haye.
You're right. And
Yeah,
so the winner of
David Haye Tony might fight Tyson Fury.
Okay. All right. So the winner of Haye Bellew get a shot at Fury. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because Fury's been coming on like live shows and saying, "Oh, when I knock out David Haye or when I beat David Haye, I'm gonna fight Tyson Fury." That he's been coming on loads of talk shows and stuff, saying that he wouldn't mind fighting that because he said he wouldn't fight Wilder because he was gonna fight Wilder, but then when he met him in the UK, said that he just looked the risk versus reward is that Wilder could probably murder him, so
Yeah.
he wasn't looking for that. And he won't fight AJ because him and AJ are like best friends. So he said he'd probably fight at heavyweight. He'd fight a Dillian White and probably a Fury. So don't know. We've got to look for that. To be honest,
Yeah.
I've been having a bit back and forth as well.
Yeah. True, man. I mean, look. Here's the thing. If David Haye wins that fight, I mean, seriously, do you guys think you could bear with him fight David Haye? I'm sorry, fighting Tyson Fury. You guys think you could bear with him that matchup after what David Haye did to Fury? Pulled out 2 different fights against him. Kind of.
I wouldn't book a fight with David Haye, to be honest.
Well, the question is, will Tyson Fury go along with that fight if let's say if Haye does beat Bellew in the rematch? Would he go?
I don't think he would. No, he pulled out twice, didn't he?
Yeah, the first time he pulled out was he had a cut. He had like a deep cut in his eye, which was like a couple weeks before the fight. So he didn't do that. But the second one was so suspicious because he just randomly came out with this. I got shoulder, I need soldier surgery or something like that. So then, that one. Was more
he took this dramatic picture from a hospital bed. I'm like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's one more thing before I wrap this up, guys. I know this is kind of a very, very awkward story. I just want to close it out for the day, for the night, I should say, or the day over there for you, Dwayne. But it's nighttime. But Oscar De La Hoya's $2 million extortion situation, man. Oh boy. Okay, so basically he had some alleged affair with a Instagram model or something like that, right? And she taped them having sex, whatnot, and then she had tried to extort him $2 million and say, "Hey, look, if you pay up, I won't release the tape." So, and we all know in the United States, extortion is very illegal. You cannot do that. You can go to jail a long time for extortion and bribery, as you want to call it. So, yeah, well, not bribery, but exactly extortion. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Oscar De La Hoya just cannot. I mean, seriously, he just has bad luck wherever he turns, man. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts about this situation?
Look, all I will say is that hopefully it's not true. But
Yeah,
if it is true, I mean, look, I feel strongly about people doing their own thing. Okay, so like it's
yeah,
none of my business what people do behind closed doors. I mean, we have a president of the United States that raw dogged the porn star. Okay, so it's so if Oscar De La Hoya is doing some crazy shit with Instagram models, and from what I've read, things are doing to him with utensils. That's all I'll say, right?
My God.
That is between Oscar De La Hoya, that Instagram model or models, or his ex and his wife to deal with,
yeah,
and to be honest, like, who wants to see that? Like, I just don't. I guess just the people that have that fetish, but who's gonna want to see that anyway, right?
yeah,
So look, it's like it's whatever, bro, right?
yeah,
But I will say that I grew up an Oscar De La Hoya fan, right?
yeah,
So it is kind of weird, right? That's
yeah,
all I'll say. But at the end of the day, get your shit together, man. Like, it's. I mean, like, come on, you got money, bro, right?
yeah.
Like you should. I mean, you got the power to. Somebody's gonna go to your house or hotel with you, right? You have a bodyguard. Check their fucking shit, right? I mean, there's just no reason for that, right? I mean,
Right.
there's rumors of Donald Trump getting peed on in bed, right? In the bed that the Obamas stayed in. I don't know what that's about, and I don't even know if that's true, right? But
Yeah,
at least we don't know. Okay, they're just rumors. So, there's a difference between rumors and having proof, right?
yeah,
By the way, I hear that Stormy Daniels has proof. But nonetheless, all right, we're talking about Oscar De La Hoya, and all I'll say is if the president of the United States is freaky shit, I guess De La Hoya could do it too, right?
yeah. I mean, all I know is that I read a recent report now. The FBI is now investigating these models who's extorting him for $2 million. So they're looking into it right now. And
By the
It's
way,
like
I mean, can you picture being like Fernando Vargas, like this tough Mexican dude, like,
oh
you got
man,
your ass kicked.
oh
He
man,
knocked you out. That dude knocked you out. Can you picture
oh man.
being Ike Corte? Like, man, I couldn't knock that guy out.
Or Ricardo
You know,
Mayorga, who's was a neuro.
Can you imagine how Ricardo Mayorga feels when he reads these stories like this dude knocked me out? Holy shit. Right? So that tells you when you see a dude at the bar and he starts talking with that soft voice, don't
Yeah.
just assume you can whoop his ass. You never know. Right?
yeah,
Well, Mayorga was a leader. He was a gang leader over in Nicaragua and Managua. So what does that tell you? He's like, what the fuck? I
Man, he's
got
getting
knocked out by this
clowned by
dude.
like he needs to be kicked out of that game. That's what it needs to be, right?
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, man.
I just feel
Hey,
like
Can
nowadays.
you imagine how Chavez Senior feels?
oh man.
All right,
Yeah.
just thinking about that. This is the dude that made me quit after 8 rounds. Right? I'm just saying. I'll stop at that.
It's
Go
just
ahead.
nowadays when you hear like loads of stories of these, celebrities and famous people all extortion and found a way to get money, man. But with Oscar De La Hoya, like with this guy, everywhere you look, there's something. If it's not the emails, it's him in a dress. If it's not him in a dress, it's this. Oh my God, this
Yeah.
guy.
But by the way, in a serious note, he should have addressed the emails. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Oh my days. And then when you ask him about it, he bans you from coming to his show, his press conferences and stuff like that.
I mean, it's not that complicated, bro. Like if I was charged of PR at Golden Boy, I'd immediately tell him, hey, bro, you got to say something. You got to fire this dude. And the one you should be banning is that motherfucker that was using that word in the email. That's
Well,
who you should be banning.
what you should have done is like you could reprimand the guy. You say, you know what? I gotta.
No, you fire him, bro. It's a
fire
wrap.
Yeah, you got.
Leaders.
Yeah, I agree. You fire him. Put out a statement. Say, you know what? I don't. This is not tolerated in my workplace. I'm very sorry for what happened. The guy's been terminated. There you go. End of story. You should
I
have
know,
done.
but now when you keep quiet, it just makes everybody think, okay, yeah, you're a racist. That's something.
And then I'm trying to understand, right? Oscar De La Hoya, I mean, this dude had everything, right? As soon as he retired from boxing, he had millions in the bank. He had Golden Boy Promotions, right? He was working with Al Heyman. He had Richard Schaefer doing all the work for him, right?
Yeah.
All you had to do was just, show his face. That's all you have to do, right? And he still fucked it up. I mean, you can't write a script for this shit, right? Vince McMahon couldn't write this script.
Oh boy. Well, poor Oscar, but he'll have to figure this out, man.
So Oscar De La Hoya is like the real life Goldust. Okay, he's the Goldust.
Oh shit! Don't bring that guy up, man.
He's that guy
Goldust.
I'm telling you right now, if De La Hoya made a comeback, I mean, he would have very good inside fighting defense. Because ain't nobody gonna get in the inside, right?
How would you guys say you thought about Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania?
Oh man, that was a damn good match. I was surprised.
Yeah, I was.
She did damn good.
Let me tell you this, man.
Uh-huh.
Ronda Rousey surprised the shit out of me. I thought she was gonna suck. To be honest,
me too. I thought so too.
The only thing I hated about that match, there's one thing I hated. Right, because it was so ridiculous having Stephanie block the armbar. Okay, I was like, come on, are you shitting me right now? Oh, Stephanie's stopping the armbar from man.
Hey, but guess what? Did she show she got some in-ring technicality? So she did show she could do that a little bit. I'll give Stephanie props for that.
The good thing is that it's good to see she's not taking herself too serious, and that's when wrestling is at its best. When the people in the ring are not taking themselves too serious and they're just trying to entertain the crowd. Those are the best matches, man. So, Triple H was his overselling. It was a little ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I was laughing.
I mean, that was right up there with Shawn Michaels overselling with Hulk Hogan.
Right? Oh man, I wouldn't say that. Shawn Michaels did it way worse job. I won't say that.
Ronda Rousey's like what, 140 pounds soaking wet?
150, 140, yeah, 145.
145 pounds. How much does Triple H weigh?
260. What about 240, 250?
I mean, that's almost double her body weight that she freaking lifted, right, on her freaking shoulders.
I know. I was like,
I mean, I know people are impressed with like Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant, but Hulk Hogan was 300 pounds. Andre the Giant was about 500. So
right.
I mean, that's kind of impressive. Okay, I did see her like knees kind of buckle there a little bit, but that's all right. All right.
That's all right. She maintained her position.
Because for a second, I was like, holy shit! Like, if she fucks up her knee right now, then but she didn't, so that's good. But surprisingly enough, the one that was terrible in the match was Kurt Angle. I mean, he was just horrible.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt is old. I mean, he's lost a lot.
Is it me? But he has like that 6-pack belly. When he breathes in, he looks chiseled, right? Then he breathes out, and he's got like a beer belly. I'm like, what's going on here?
He's old, man. Look, your body gets older. That's what happens to you. Your body changes and grows. I mean, you're not gonna get it chiseled like it used to be, bro. That's the way it is. But speaking of WrestleMania, before I get out of here, guys, I gotta ask you about. I'm not going to talk about the main event, man. It was a terrible main event. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns.
Well, let's dive into it just really quick. The main event before we get to the good stuff. Look. Let me tell you something. 4 straight years, they put this motherfucker in the main event, right? Yeah. Vince McMahon just won't let it go. I've never seen anything like that. Like what is it about Roman Reigns that he has to be the guy? I mean, every Monday night, I mean, they the big dog this, the big dog that. Okay.
Yeah.
The whole year they had Brock Lesnar beat everybody with a 1 F5. They had him kick out of how many was it, like 5 F5s?
4 of them.
That's ridiculous. But actually, he hit the F5 in the table, got him in the ring, hit him with another F5, and he still kicked out. Okay. I mean, I think Brock Lesnar hit him with a forklift, and then he still kicked out. Okay, during their match. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous, and that's all the match was. It was suplex here, an F5 there, spear here, kick out, spear, F5, kick out, F5, F5, kick out, spear, F5, Superman
When you say
punch.
that was like equivalent to when Undertaker fought Triple H.
Well, at least people were into that match.
Yeah,
I mean,
like, Triple H doing the tombstone and Undertaker kicking out, and oh my lord.
Yeah, but at least in that match, it was like, holy shit, is the Undertaker going to lose, right? I mean, at least it was a streak thing.
Streak thing, yeah.
Yeah, but this match, I mean, nobody wanted to see this match. And as soon as, when it was announced as the main event, I knew they're just asking for trouble. Like, AJ Styles versus Nakamura should have been the main event, right?
Yeah.
But they went with this fight, because Vince believed in this. They did the whole Brock is a part-timer, and me and the boys, we work hard. When Reigns went on TV and had the audacity to call somebody else, Vince's boy, right? I mean, that's when I knew the WWE has, there's no bottom to the barrel, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. And look, I'm not a big John Cena fan, right? But even comparing this guy to John Cena is ridiculous, right?
Oh Lord!
Look, it's unbelievable to me how much they've been pushing this guy. He is the only guy that I could think of, all right? Not even Hulk Hogan, okay? He's the only man in history that headlined 4 straight WrestleManias. He's the only guy to do it. What is it about? And then I have to hear dudes like Chris Jericho, right, go on their podcast and say things like, well, Roman Reigns does everything right, but the fans just boo him because they think it's a cool thing to do, right?
Jericho look. I bet Chris Jericho. I'm gonna be careful with. I'm gonna be very careful. He's a nice guy, but I gotta disagree with Chris on this one. Chris, I think he's good friends with Roman. I know he's trying to save face with him. But the fact is, his gimmick is dried out, bruh. It's the way it is. You gotta turn him heel. You gotta do it quickly. You gotta do it now.
Boy, and if they talk bad about him, that's gonna stop some paychecks. They all know this, right? Plus, there's a conflict of interest, man. I'm sure Roman's a cool guy, and he doesn't want to rag on him, okay? But are you telling me that Stone Cold's wrong when Stone Cold says, "Hey, this thing ain't working out,"
Yeah, it ain't working out, man. I'm sorry, bro. It's just
when I'm hearing a story from CM Punk saying, hey, make sure you, since the Shield, I'll telling them, hey, make sure you protect Roman. Make sure you make sure Roman looks good. And every single time, they've been this guy. I mean, since as soon as they disbanded the Shield, he kept the Shield music. Okay, he kept the Shield attire. He kept everything from the Shield. They reunited the Shield together. Okay, they turned Rollins' face again just to try and get this guy over, give him that rub, right? And they can't do it, right? They just can't do it. And I honestly, God, he's going to headline next year's WrestleMania. He's going to do it.
He can't. He can't do it, man. No.
That's what we said last year, Dan.
Well, you know what?
They could do this again.
No, they can't do this again. I think because I heard backstage after Brock Lesnar got backstage, he was pissed off at him and Vince were in a shouting match. I don't know what that was about, but I guess they were.
First of all, I don't know what Brock's mad about. That dude makes $6 million a year. He just to show up like 4 or 5 times. Okay, but right. but my thing is, right. I do believe that, and I do believe he was probably pissed off that the fans were chanting, "This is awful," right, and playing with a beach ball. Which I cannot picture people playing with a beach ball while Hogan was wrestling Andre, Yeah. It's just, I just can't picture this stuff, so that's all I'll say about that as far as that goes.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you guys. I hear you on that. But we'll figure out. But good news is Lashley came back. So I heard they're doing something with Lesnar and Lashley at SummerSlam. So we'll see how that goes. That's according to the rumor.
Well, it's only a matter of time till Vince gives Lashley a gimmick, so we'll see how it goes.
But anyways, guys, I'm about to wrap this up. I got to get off. I got to do some work before I head to bed. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Dwayne, as a pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on, brother, as always. And
So
you,
good,
D
man.
Style. Thank you, man. D Style, as always, brother. Thank you for
Peace.
chopping up with me. Peace. All right, to the rest of Commodores and subscribers, I'd like to thank you all for coming on. Mr. Doc, 1224529, Rascalot, Champ Ross, Great Drake just came in here. What's up, Great Drake? Olaf the Mighty, Hoplo Type, Bad News Brown Boxing, all you guys, and who else? Champ Ross, I got you. Black Latin Seas as always. Uh, Amir, got you as well. And Derek Williams, I saw you in there, brother, in the chat. Thank you for coming in as well. Other than that, guys, I am going to wrap this up. Until next time, I am out. Peace.